couple. You all missed me last month because the state had graced us with their presence. Kenny, do you mind standing up? This is Kenny Moses. And Kenny is working overnights and a new addition, and we're happy to have you. Heather, do you mind? This is Heather Baker. Heather will be joining us. I've put the cart before the horse. She hasn't even officially been hired, but she will be this afternoon. While we've been working together. Anybody else new that I'm missing?
Me, I'm new.
You are not new.
Yes, I am.
You're new? Okay. Would you stand up?
No, I don't.
Do it.
No. Because if I do it, then I'm going to have to moon everybody.
Well, some people might like that.
Maybe.
Listen, I am so grateful for all of you. You have done such a wonderful job. We, in the last 2 months, we have really kicked some butt. We've got the schedule at a really healthy place, much healthier than it's been. And that, I think, makes all of us happy. It makes it easier for us as a team. It makes it easier for me as your leader. And I, again, just can't say how grateful I am. I think that one of the things that happens for me, at least I see on the overnights, because your role is a lot different, you don't really get to see the residents during wash-ups or during meals or just throughout their waking hours. I think it's more important that you try to understand dementia and what it means. And everybody's dementia is different, and everybody that we take care of has dementia. None of these people were born this way, okay? None of them. They were all very successful people, some more successful than others, but we've taken care of everything from judges to farmers and every single thing in between. There are a few things that they have left in life, and those things, to really put it in small form, are trusty caregivers, decent food, and a clean house. People that trust them, people that want to be there for them, that don't judge them because they can't help what they do. And most of you know that the way that we got into this business was through our own personal experience with my Italian immigrant mother-in-law, Angie, and one of the first things she forgot was how to speak English. So just put that in perspective as a, for instance. And we didn't realize what was happening. So it's a huge undertaking. Soft touch, slow approach, understanding. These are all things that are going to be your friend as a caregiver. Understanding their body language. For those of you that are awake, first shift, second shift, even third shift can read body language. If somebody's trying to get out of bed, or if somebody on the overnight says, I want a shower, I want a shower, I want a shower, give them a shower, please. It isn't gonna hurt a thing. In fact, it's gonna help the next shift. And it's gonna help you on your shift, because if somebody wants a shower at 2 o'clock in the morning, they should be able to do that. Maybe that's what they need to relax and go back to sleep. And that's fine. Somebody can have a shower in the middle of the night, have a snack, and go back to bed if that's what they want to do. So just keep all of those things in mind. And I know somebody had said we have a routine. Routine is it was Shania and talking to Amy. Routine is really as good as a routine is, right? Mm-hmm. So as long as we accomplish the same end result, it doesn't matter how we get there. Because we have a lot of staff on shift right now and 2 people on the overnights, Kenny has a big background in cooking. We are going to tap into you for that, Kenny. Bruce, we tap into Bruce. He's the head chef at our house. I'm gonna say, and Claire is also awesome at cooking. And Kelsey cooks when she shouldn't have to cook. And that takes a lot of time out of her day. So the more that we can help on the overnights, the better it is for everybody. And Kenny, you might not have even been here long enough to notice, but our big meal is lunch. So if you've got a casserole, or you've got lasagna, or you've got something like that on the menu for lunch tomorrow, you bring that all to the point just prior to cooking it. I think Bruce will tell you, he actually writes, bake at 350 for an hour, whatever the case may be. very, very, very helpful. For an extended period of time now, Kelsey has been cooking.
Yeah.
And that just does take time away from the caregivers.
At least an hour.
At least an hour. Because they have to serve and they have to clean up. So the more prep work that we can do, so at supper time, it's lunch fare, okay? And it might be tuna fish sandwiches or chicken salad or whatever. If that tuna fish salad could be made, that's huge. It's very helpful. So just think about that as you go through your shifts. Ian, Bruce, Claire's really good at that. It just is very helpful. Because then Kelsey could actually be doing activities with the residents instead of cooking. And I would rather that happen. We never know when our last day is going to be, and so we should be prepared to give our residents every day as best we can. Pat and I just lost a very old and dear friend with no forewarning, and not even 70 years old. So we just don't know what tomorrow holds. And I know a lot of you in this room have experienced a loss recently. And whether they're old or whether they're young, it doesn't matter. It's still a loss, and it's hurtful, and it's sad, and it's okay to do that, to be sad. So thank you all. House 2, I don't know why, but I'm smelling cigarettes in the entryway. Not okay. Put a can out under that little thing. Put the butts out there. Don't put your butts out and stick them in a bag or the trash can that's in that hallway is supposed to be for PPE. That is supposed to be if we ever have to gown up, if we're ever using masks, that's where we should be discarding that, not just regular trash. Just to make that announcement so everybody understands. I was getting these butt pouches, and there are a few here. If anybody wants one, this is a company that actually takes your cigarette butts and recycles them and makes them into furniture and all sorts of stuff. And it's free. So I'd much sooner see you carry one of these. What's that?
There's nothing great about recycled cigarettes.
Yes, there is. There's something great about recycled everything. You can't recycle protective underwear for obvious reasons, or pizza boxes. But Patsy uses our pizza boxes as paper plates. He rips them. And that's our paper plate.
He's saving you money.
He is.
Totally see
Fabulous.
that.
And you can't recycle it because it's full of grease.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's
all
already
grease.
ruined.
Yes, exactly. So just please be mindful of what you're doing and how it leaves the house, especially entryways. I get very...
But it shouldn't smell like that.
No, and they should be dusted, and they should be, the floors should be clean. And you all have plenty of time to do overnights, usually, not always, but usually has plenty of time to get those little housekeeping things done. So, since the firemen haven't arrived and it's 12:41, I'm gonna go into, they're on their way? Great. Many of you know, but not all of you, but many of you know that we've been blessed with the presence of the state in the last, well, they came June 3rd and then they came again August 21st. One of the ridiculous things that we were made to go through. Pat and I built every one of these houses. Jackson Avenue was a small little house, and we designed with an architect the addition so that, it's a care home. Our house out back we built from the ground up. Our house 2 was built for the severely handicapped, I believe by Rutland Mental Health, back in the 80s. And we did the same thing there. We had an architect, we had engineers, and we built these buildings for safety to shelter in place, meaning these are all people with dementia. We cannot guarantee that when that fire alarm goes off, they're gonna run for an exit. In fact, we've had residents, Shannon and I were talking about this not long ago, we've had residents who went into the shower and hid, scared of this fire alarm. And that's why from day one, Pat and I said to the fire safety, life safety, architects, engineers, we need this building to be as secure as possible because these people cannot leave on their own. And for 23 years, that's how we have operated. That's what our policies and procedures explain. But for some reason, the state decided that we were not
Adequate.
classified as we should have been. I had to hire an architect to write an assessment to the state fire marshal and the state life safety guy, which just got done yesterday, thank God for Kirk Moore. And he had presented it to these fire safety people saying, yeah, they have all safeguards in place. They should not be classified as residential care and board. They should be classified as healthcare/nursing home. So that is being corrected. Thousands of dollars later and many, many, many hours. Absolutely ridiculous.
Major stress.
But don't even, the people closest to me in proximity, meaning Shannon is there at the office and she sees me pulling my hair out, wanting to cry and wanting to scream just because it just seems so ludicrous to put us through all of this extra. So anyway, with all that being said, there are a lot of things. I want you to be a team. I'm not asking everybody to be best friends. I just want you to be a team. If somebody is doing something and you think that it should be done differently, there's a right way to do that. And if you're the receiver of said information, don't take it as somebody's trying to point fingers at you. There are a lot of things that we have to do, and I'm going to give you a for instance. At one of the houses, it was pointed out to me that on the back of the PRN Tylenol sheet, that it's given regularly, and it's documented, but the results are not always documented. And we've had trouble with that in the past. You don't have to be a med tech to go to that book and say, yes, you had Tylenol an hour ago, and it's positive results.
But some people lock the med book, so that might want to be, they lock their med book up, so that might be something.
Good point, Kim, thank you. That's a great point.
But like if there's a med tech on the 10 to 6, like Melissa, if she has done that, and then obviously 6 to 2 a med tech comes in, we always check it anyways or they pass it on.
Yeah.
But that's why doing report and rounds is important for
That's
those kind of
exactly right.
information to be told.
Exactly right, exactly. So the only time that really is a problem is at, close to shift change.
Yeah.
Because you really should document those results an hour after. If somebody has Tylenol, expect it's gonna take an hour for you to say, hey, do you feel better? Is your headache gone? Kind of thing. These are all people with dementia. They might say, what headache?
Yeah.
And that would be your sign that, yeah, it was a positive result, right? Any questions while we're here? We've got a couple firemen that will walk through the door, thankfully.
If you could.
Alta's just stretching. Okay. All right. If there are anything, and I know most all of you are very comfortable reaching out to me, just keep me high.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Only got 2 today.
Yeah, last time we had
Call
what,
it.
4 or 5?
Yeah.
Common sense. You ready to break?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you missing a few?
My uncle. Yeah.
Great.
George. We call him Uncle George.
Okay.
Thank you, Goose cousin.
Great,
Yep.
great. I'm gonna turn the floor over to you guys. You can introduce yourself to this lovely team of ours. This is fire safety. Ta-da! I've given them a little background about what the state has put us through recently. I'm not sure if you've been brought up to speed with that. Doesn't matter.
No.
It's all good.
I'm assuming everybody works in Rutland? All of your
Yes.
houses
Yep.
are within the
Yep.
city of Rutland?
I'll let you guys.
So we're gonna give you a small idea. If you have a fire, obviously your first priority hopefully would be to call us or pull your fire alarm. And then you are number 1. Keep in mind, we're in Rutland. We will arrive with 7 members within 2 minutes of you getting us the notification. So yes, if you have able-bodied people, you can get them out. But if there's heavy smoke, fire, anything like that, you guys are number 1. And I don't know how
Yep,
your
you're
guys'
exactly
plans
right.
are.
Yep.
Ultimately, when I'm saying that is if we arrive and the place is on fire and we have to get you and patients, you could become an extra victim for us, right? And that's where I'm leading off with that is if you can't safely grab a couple people and get out, don't do it. It's just adding to our workload, potentially, okay?
Yeah.
So every building you guys have, because it's our house,
Yep.
has a master box or at least a fire alarm system with a dialer. So if there is smoke or fire, we're probably gonna be on the way by the time you know it. The moment your fire alarm goes off, our master box is already tripped.
I'm just gonna interject there. Only our house at Park Terrace, we need to call. All of the others are hardwired directly to the fire department. So the minute you set that smoke detector off by burning the meatloaf, they're on their way. And
Absolutely.
you can't stop them.
Why is it house 3?
It was that way when we bought it. I don't
Oh.
know. I felt like the logic was because it's literally
Right
Right
across
across
the
the
road.
street.
And it
Yeah.
probably cost a lot of money to have it.
No, it wasn't even an option when we bought that house
Oh.
19 years ago.
But
Thank you.
to the point, yes, call. It's important to follow it up with a 911 call because you can give us more information while we're on the way. Unfortunately, with the way 911 works, realistically, you're going to be halfway through their questions. We're going to be showing up.
Yes, that is true. 100%.
If we're showing up, do us a favor. Try to meet with the gentleman that gets out of the truck with either a red helmet or a white helmet first. Those are the gentlemen in command. Those are the bosses 90% of the time. So everything needs to relay through them for our crews to work efficiently. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
By all means, that place that doesn't have the fire alarm, if the smoke detectors go off, call us. You're a high hazard for our industry, for the fire service. So we really don't want you messing with smoke detectors, the smoke alarm systems.
Right.
Don't reset things. Let us come and do our jobs to make sure you guys are safe, that it's not a carbon monoxide going off or a fire behind the wall that you can't see or smell.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I do have a resident that has put a chair there and tried to play with it. I tried to
The
stop.
fire, with the fire pole?
No, her fire alarm.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yep. We expect it with all our houses, the Pines, you know, we get the dementia people that pull the alarms. It's frequent. It's not, there's no cost to our house, to you guys when this stuff happens.
Just pride, especially if you burnt meatloaf or something like that.
Any questions for us? I can keep going, but my biggest thing is you guys are,
We have a lot of new staff.
yep,
That have not done this fire service before, so if you could touch base, especially going into the holidays, about what not to hang on the, like, door sprinklers.
I can.
Batteries.
Does everybody know what sprinklers heads are?
Yeah.
So that is an absolute, no, that actually can get you fined. If
Yeah.
you're hanging things off sprinklers or any fire alarm systems, keeping any decorations away from heating, space heaters,
We don't do that.
I'm assuming they're not allowed.
Not allowed.
I know how these things work.
Not even electric blankets.
No.
Yep. Extension cords for your decorations, make sure you're not overloading them, make sure you're not getting the cheap brown and little green ones. Use heavy duty extension cords if you're gonna use them. A lot of places don't even allow
We
extension
don't,
cords.
we don't allow it.
Yeah, we don't.
But the big one is, yeah, don't mess with the fire alarm system, definitely don't mess with the sprinkler, make sure your sprinkler rooms, if you have them, are clear. Fire alarm panels are the same, you can't have anything in front of your fire alarm panels. That can get you hung up.
To you guys, not to anybody else.
Yeah, that'll get the fire marshal coming down. But I'd like any questions, I mean, there's usually quite a few.
I
good
just
ones.
wanna add to what Officer
Fitzsimmons. And firefighter, or Colin, no officer.
I wanna add to what he said. Every door, exit door has an evacuation plan. Pull that. That's what you're gonna have when you meet the man with the red or the white helmet. What that has in it is the room numbers and all the residents that are in the rooms. So we'll take our house out back right now, as for instance, there's a vacant room. We should be able to hopefully point that out to the firemen so they know there's no one in that room, or shouldn't be.
See, you'll point that out, we're still gonna search the whole
Yeah,
building.
I
The real
appreciate that.
information we want from you is who's still in there, are they mobile, are they not mobile? Bedridden is something we need to know,
Yep,
because that changes our tactics of having to go in.
Yeah.
We need to know basically who is in there and where you think they are. So if you can show me on that little map, that's great, but
excellent.
I don't wanna hear this room is empty.
Okay.
We have to search every inch of the building regardless.
And we gotta fill beds. Just kidding.
It's
All
big.
rooms have numbers on the bottom, so.
Yep.
No, for your type space on the residents, you have to let them know.
Now, shut doors. If, that's a big one for a fire. You know, if it's, something's burning in the kitchen and you can secure it, by shutting a couple of doors before you get out, that's bigger than moving your patients out.
Yep. Yep.
Don't open windows. Try not to leave the front door open. I know you just close it part way, you don't have to shut and lock it. But the more open you leave that, the more oxygen you're feeding to that fire, the bigger that fire is gonna get. And it happens really fast.
Good thing our door's locked.
So in your minds, what you should always be doing, especially today at Fire Safety Day, is it's very hard to think about these things, but think about them. And think about what you would do, how you might react, because until you're actually faced, you can go through all the training you want, but until you're actually faced with an urgency or an emergency, you may not know how to act. So just think about it, in your mind, simulate how this, God forbid, might unfold, and how you can save yourself and, of course, the residents as best you can. Grease fires, we don't use grease too much, right? I don't think
Yeah.
I mean, the hamburger.
just in the oven, yeah.
You'd be surprised, but I think it was our house on South Main Street. We had a gentleman
Oh, yeah.
light himself on fire in his bed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know.
Well, that was because he brought a lighter in.
It was, but it's still, the staff did an excellent job.
Yep.
And I think we just had one of these meetings.
Yes, we have.
They got who they could out. The gentleman ended up passing away.
Yeah.
Not from that though, right?
Infection from the
Sure,
burns.
He did?
many.
It was a while after, but he did.
Oh,
He's
okay.
technically a death in the state of Vermont by fire.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But we see stuff like that in these homes, especially with dementia. If a family member leaves a lighter out and somebody grabs it. I mean, I'm sure you guys work with the people with dementia. My uncle was that way. He was in the Pines. He'd try to steal knives and lighters all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wouldn't hurt a soul, but
Those
you know,
are what he wanted.
that's what he wanted. in his
And
pockets.
that's why you secure your own damn lighters, pardon my French, but do not leave things out.
Well, it's also where no smoking distance.
Unfortunately, that's
I know
the
how
way
these,
we're gonna do
I
it.
know how it works. Any other questions? I mean, we can keep going into more, but
When you talk about fire extinguishers, if you have it all in house, because how do you use that?
we like fire extinguishers and hate them at the same time because of the grease fires.
Yep.
That is a no-go with a normal extinguisher. You know to pull the pin, sweep the bottom of the fire about 3 to 6 feet away. We're not gonna go into too much of it because technically by the time a fire is gonna happen in most of your facilities, we're probably around in the block before you could even get to the extinguisher.
And he's
Because
right.
you're gonna go look and see what's burning, and at that point, if you hear sirens, you're jeopardizing yourself. You catch something small on the outside of the building, extinguishers are great. They have their places, but again, when we talk about getting close to smoke and fire, that extinguisher in a closed room, you've gotta be very close, 3 to 6 feet. That room is completely full of smoke. It can, 2 breaths of that nasty smoke with plastics we work with today can really mess you up. So, yes, if you're near an extinguisher or you don't have to go find one and you know what the problem is, extinguishers are fantastic. But ultimately, and it's kind of where I started, we want you guys to be safe first.
Yeah.
We are 2 minutes to any of your locations.
And they truly are. We've timed it many, many, many times. I don't think it's ever taken 3 minutes.
It's about 45 seconds for us to get dressed and in the trucks most of the time and out the door, and then it's under
Because you
2
guys are
minutes.
always there, right?
Always, 24/7.
Yeah.
We're staffing a truck now. If we receive a call, we're out of here.
Yep, and we've had
So,
that.
and there's always 7.
We've had that happen while you guys were here before. We
Yep.
had to get
Couple
called out.
times.
I appreciate everything that the firemen, all of our emergency responders do, because it's, I'm sure that you see some pretty terrible stuff. And we want to avoid that. So we want to be your friends. And we want to be all of our residents' friends and friends to ourselves, because if we can just think to avoid these things, or then, again, how to react. And I think that this is such an important presentation, because we don't think about these things. And then when it happens, yikes. You know, as a child, I was in 2 fires. And that's what makes me ultra sensitive. I slept with my shoes on from the time I was 5 till I was 7, because, and my mother didn't know it, because we had a chimney fire when I was a little girl, and it was winter, and I hated the fact that my feet were freezing while we stood outside and waited for people to come. And that was many years ago, not like today.
But if you're, let's say you are using grease fires, make sure you have the correct pot, you know, the top for the pan. one of the best ways to eliminate a grease fire is to cover it.
Yep.
Take away the oxygen, or have baking soda nearby. That's another great way. That's the problem with extinguishers. If you use an extinguisher on a pan of grease that's on fire, that whole room is going to be on fire. And like you said earlier, it's a moment of panic. Most people start their grease fire, their house is on fire, actually are using an extinguisher, trying to make that problem better. But statistically, grease fires are spread by extinguishers.
Yeah, wow.
Happens all the time. We do 3 to 4 of them a year here in the city. Usually we get lucky enough, we're there pretty quick. But yeah, fires outside are great for extinguishers. You know, somebody drops a cigarette. I know you're a smoke-free campus, but people walking by, there's a lot of great uses for them. But a lot of people struggle to forget to pull the pin, and you're in that panic mode. So if you're not training and working with these things, they're kind of confusing. But pull the pin, squeeze the handle, you're going side to side as you approach the fire, hitting the base of the fire. So you're not shooting way up above it or into the middle of it. You want to actually sweep the bottom, like the ground, or wherever the bottom of the fire is.
Wow.
We talk about like smells and then issues that don't have smells.
So if something does smell funny or hot, call the fire department. That's not going to trip the alarm, okay? So if you have computers that have overheated or batteries, it's not going to set the fire alarm off. But if that is something, have us come down, we can find it. We have thermal imaging cameras, so we can scan a room and we can see the hottest spot.
House 2 is the only one with gas. So it's like propane. Right?
Yes, if you smell that, that's another absolute call us. That'll generate, that's 2 trucks. We will send all 7 guys to any smell of propane,
And the truth
especially in
is-
the residence. Out of the residence, we want to know about it.
Right, and all 4 of the houses actually have propane because they all have generators. Those generators are powered by propane. So just keep that in mind. And it's great to know that this team is here for us because they've come to our aid many, many times, serious and not so serious. But I'll tell you what, the residents love that. The residents were like, they see the guy in uniform and they're like, oh.
Oh, there's many little old ladies that hit on every one of us. It happens all the
Sally
time.
at house too, she loves
I'm
firemen.
serious, I'm serious. People you haven't seen sit forward in months are on the edge of their chair because there's a man in a uniform coming by.
But even, you know that your cooking set the alarm off. We don't know that when we arrive, so we actually want you to treat that like a fire. Even though you might know you accidentally set it off, treat it like the real deal.
Yeah.
To some extent. I mean, if it's 20 below outside, I can understand it's tough to get them outside. Shelter in place is an acceptable standard for what we do. But that's ultimately up to what you guys choose. I can't tell you
That's what we do.
how to
That's exactly
handle
what we
those,
do.
but
And then what about carbon dioxide?
hopefully you have alarms.
Yes, we do.
But you need, again, follow that with a call. Carbon monoxide is the silent killer. You can't smell it, can't taste it, nothing. So if that alarm goes off and starts saying carbon monoxide, those are probably independent detectors apart from your system. That doesn't automatically notify us. So you need to call 911, or actually the police department would be the fastest way to get us. So if you call down to Rutland City Police, they dispatch us.
But not 911, or,
Well, 911 dispatches us,
But
but you
they're-
have to go through the
right.
whole
Have you
spiel.
called 911 since the change?
Goes all the way to.
I swear to God, I could have put the resident in the car and got him to the hospital.
It's about 8 minutes before we get dispatched,
Yeah.
if you call state police. So I can give you guys the number.
Sure, absolutely.
isn't it 1816 or something?
It is 773-1816.
Yeah.
I call it
That
wrong.
means you call it way too much.
So, but
No.
that's the Rutland Police Department, but then
And
you just
the
say
state police
it's
is
our house,
911.
Muzzy Street, I have a carbon monoxide detector going off.
Perfect.
And they're gonna say, is there illness? They're gonna ask you a few questions. Identify yourself as an our house, a nursing home facility. That's gonna generate the trucks to come out.
Awesome. You've never let us down. You guys have never let us down.
That's the
You've
point.
always been-
If we're ever more than 2 minutes, it's probably because we're at another emergency.
Right.
You're fine.
You know, windstorms, big rainstorms, we're generating 30 to 40 calls a day when that stuff comes through. They seem to be more frequent.
They do. Last
But
August 4th, when we had the horrible rain deluge that came down, Patsy, Lane, I'm not even sure who else was there.
the basement flooded.
They're trying to get the sump pump, they've got it started, but they can't get the suction to start.
I
These
can't, I
guys
went down
came.
to that.
Was it you?
Yep.
Came and got the suction started, so the water was pumping out of the basement, and on they went to another call. So very, very grateful for all of you and all you do. Seriously.
We talked
Listen to
about
these guys.
trash and not putting it, we talked a little bit about it, but again, you have holidays and people moving, coming and going, not keeping boxes and not having to eat.
And I would hope that's your general, obviously the more cardboard, the more trash you stack up within the building or against the building is what we refer to as fire load. We want to keep the fire load low wherever possible and make sure we're getting rid of cardboard immediately. Same with decorations. Holidays over, get that stuff down and out. It's just, that plastic burns so fast. I hate decorations personally, but
They're a lot of work.
they're a ton of work.
There.
But yeah, fire load, wherever you can minimalize it. You know, I'm sure you have residents that like to bring in a lot of stuff.
I
We
don't
used
think we
to.
have any hoarders right now, but we have had hoarders.
Yeah.
As I
Janice was our
said, my uncle was in the
hoarder.
mines,
No,
and
we
he would
wouldn't
ask
have
for 100 things a day, and I would usually find the smallest item to bring in, but I'd also take something out.
Perfect.
We love those type of people
But-
who take it out.
Well,
Bring it in.
yeah, my uncle was a super hoarder, but I saw a lot of rooms that had a lot of stuff in it,
Yeah.
even in the pines, and
Yeah.
I'm sure people love their effects, but the more stuff you let them bring in, we refer to it as fire load.
Sure.
That room gets going that much harder, faster, harder to put out.
Good point.
But yeah, make sure your trash goes out immediately. I'm assuming you guys would do that daily.
Every
Every shift.
Sometimes if they get delivery, you can sit down there for a while.
Really?
I don't like that, yeah.
There's a lot of boxes downstairs. I think in house 3. Like they're folded up, but
Yeah, but,
Oh, like
and that's up
broken
to the
down?
Yeah.
management staff, like that stuff's gotta be taken
How's
care of,
that
it's
going
just
on?
wherever you stack up
I don't leave anything like that.
I think Shannon takes hers out.
Oh yeah.
totes and all that stuff is just
The last time I was.
It's a recipe for fire.
There wasn't any.
eventually.
I didn't have.
stand close.
Or at least a
I didn't
bigger
have
one.
stuff
no, these aren't the boxes that they're.
And I apologize, we're not prepared, we actually had no idea, so I'm kinda going off the cusp here today.
in.
You're doing great.
Yeah, somebody didn't put it in the computer, so we're,
You're doing great. What, can you tell the staff in regards, because we do 6 fire drills a year, and we don't take residents out, like, no, obviously we're not gonna get them back in. So we do mock fire drills.
yep,
So, like I mentioned at the beginning, obviously staff safety is first. Explain how a fire drill, like, starts and ends, Dr. Baker has to go somebody else. If there's a fire in the house, in the kitchen.
so if there's a fire in the house, hopefully the staff is out with whatever patients you could safely grab. And when I say safely, I mean, you're walking through this. The fire's way over there, confined, there's no smoke. Smoke will hurt you way faster than you think it will. Between taking your vision, your
Inhale.
snot's gonna run down your face, you're gonna be coughing, you won't be able to see. You become a problem for us at that point. A, you can't give me the proper information, and I've gotta get you out of the building before I get one of your patients out. Okay? But let's just say it works out perfect, you each get a couple people out, and you say, I've got Mrs. Johnson at the far end, room on the left. We're gonna go in, there's gonna be 2 teams. The first team goes in to locate the fire, hopefully extinguish it some with cans, and then they go over and grab the patient. If it's a bed or a wheelchair, it's an easy rescue for us. If not, we're probably gonna grab a bed sheet, or worst case scenario, depends how bad it is, we have webbing in our pockets. We'll sling it under him, hook his armpits, and we drag.
Yep.
There is nothing pretty about what we do in that situation, because the longer your patients are in there, the less likely they are to survive.
Yep.
At that point, we have a team enter with a hose line. Again, this is a, yep.
So isn't it true if you do do get caught in the building and the smoke's going up, to drop to the ground to get lower than the flames and the smoke, so you can actually breathe.
Absolutely. So smoke
Should get to
rises.
that point though.
Yep. Smoke rises. So the lower you can be, the better. But if there's smoke this high up, you're still gonna smell it, taste it down on the floor. That's a no-go. I mean, and if there's fire above you, you shouldn't even be considering trying to grab a patient at that point. Get out. That's
So every house is fully sprinklered, every house is fully fire alarmed. We have hardwired CO detectors, hardwired smoke alarms.
it will go a lot faster if something was to ever go down. You're going to experience a lot of water. That might be one of your first gives or your first things you notice. Why is there water pouring out of this room and the fire alarm's going off? That means the sprinkler's going off. There's an issue in that room. Don't open the door. Get out. Grab the patients you can get out and go. If you open that door, you know, if it's a closed bedroom door that has a sprinkler or a kitchen, you're just gonna let smoke out. You'd be amazed how much smoke that door can hold back. Or it could just be the sprinkler head let go. It's rare, but they do happen, and it is an incredible amount of water.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
It will probably shut your building down from just one sprinkler head going off, even without a fire.
All these things have to be tested every year. Every year the sprinklers are tested. Every year the fire alarms are tested. Smoke detectors, everything has to be done on an annual basis. Or if there's a problem, obviously before that. That's for these guys' safety as well as all of your safety and the residents' safety, so.
But
That's
see,
what saved Helen's life. She knew not to open the door because the door was hot.
yep,
And that fire would have just engulfed her.
yeah, fire moves fast. If you ever look on YouTube, there's a bunch of videos on, and it shows why you should leave doors shut at night. And that kind of goes beyond your guys' buildings, but I won't let my kids sleep with their bedroom doors open. It can save a life. Just that little flimsy interior door. I mean, there's hundreds of videos shows, you know, this whole room could be burnt out, and behind that door is perfectly fine. It's like there wasn't even a fire.
All those doors are fire rated, 3 or 4 hour fire rated doors.
I believe your sheetrock is 3/8
Yes,
inch.
it is. Yes, it is.
I always shut the doors when I leave.
Well, that's, I was just thinking of that for any of you with little kids that don't want the door shut at night, that's a really good idea.
That is, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Saves
also,
for
you guys
safety.
have that at your own home. Like, you tell every in-service, you have a fire escape room for your own house after you get a fire in your own home.
Right.
I assume you guys have meeting points at every building,
Yes, and well, right out the front door,
right out the front door.
unless they have to go out the back door. So there's front and back.
But we need to be met out front.
Yes, exactly.
So, and that's where we need a head count is one of the things. So if there's 6 staff members working, you might only think of the patients. Oh, I got 20 people in there. Well, what if 3 staff members are unaccounted for?
Right, right.
We're gonna search every inch anyway, but the head count of whoever's inside is wildly important. So even if you exit the back door, you should be making your way to the front meeting point. 1 meeting point, not 2. I will stress that. If you gotta go out back,
Yep,
go way wide around the house and get to that front meeting point, whether it's a mailbox.
it's front because all of our backyards are locked.
Yeah.
All of our fenced-in areas are locked. So out front is the safest way for you all to go. That's where they're gonna be looking for you.
But if the fire's in the front door, you've gotta head out back, scream to us, do something to get our attention when we arrive. We just need the head count is wildly important to us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Scary,
We
scary
forgot to
to think
mention
about.
Shannon.
And this will happen, if it ever happens, it's fast. It'll feel terribly slow to you in that moment, but you'll be surprised how much you've either done or how much information you can give out.
Yeah, awesome, thank you so much.
Not a problem. Any other questions though? I mean, that's a good one. Stay low. If there's smoke in the room,
Stop, drop, and roll.
no.
That's if you're on fire.
You're younger. Well, that's what they teach your kids, right, in school?
This,
You're young too.
even
don't do
this
that.
blanket, if this blanket right here caught fire, it could fill this whole room full of smoke in 60 seconds.
And this building does not have sprinklers. It does have fire alarm, but does not have sprinklers. It's not required. So there you have it. If we go up to the next level, it may be required. It depends on what it's used for. The city mandates all of that. And then, of course,
We wanna keep nursing homes pretty safe.
Yeah.
We're,
They rely
they're
on
one of our
us.
higher hazards.
They rely
We
on
know
us.
we're gonna be going to work you cannot get all your residents out. I'm assuming most places have 15, 20 people,
10 or 12.
10 to 12, but how many staff?
Two or one.
Yeah.
But that also brought up a good point, and I know that sometimes you have to bring your children to work.
Oh my
If-
god.
First of all, I should know that. Secondly, they have to be signed in as a visitor, and it's for this reason. If you've got your children or a child with you and it isn't logged in as a visitor, and you're all hyperactive now because there's an emergency, you want your child to be safe too.
Yeah.
So they need to be signed in as a visitor and signed out when they leave. It's the only safe way. It's not best practice for anybody, but sometimes extenuating circumstances arise, so just keep that in mind.
That's one of those head counts I was talking about, you might forget.
Yep.
We need a total number of whoever you think. We don't stand by that number. Oh, we get 20 out, we're done. I said, we search every inch. We treat facilities like this like there's 6-year-olds in there,
Yeah.
or 4-year-olds.
And you should.
Kids typically hide. People with dementia,
Uh-huh.
we don't know what they're gonna do in this
right.
high stress, high noise, low visibility. We are gonna turn mattresses over, we're gonna go through every inch of everything. We're gonna trash the place essentially. That's what we have to do when we're looking for kids.
Yeah.
I've seen kids get under their mattress.
Oh my god.
You don't know.
Wow.
They go into closets, it's been documented, they go into closets, bury themselves with clothes.
I keep that in a nightstand.
Yeah, they're,
You what?
I keep that in a nightstand one time.
Really?
Sleep, yeah.
Really?
Oh my god.
so that's
Scary.
the kind of level we wanna bring to it. Like I said, there's at least 7 that arrive immediately, within 15 minutes, we can have another, if we call mutual aid, 30 to 50 people. So this is, for us, like I said, I keep saying, it's high hazard. That's potentially 6 to 10 people that we have to remove from a burning structure.
Exactly.
Theoretically, the sprinkler system should do something. It's happened where sprinklers get tampered with, they get worked on, something's not turned back on right. So fires can still grow in sprinkler buildings. Maybe the water's been shut off in the area.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you guys don't get to close work because there's no water if they're doing work.
No.
Fires can still happen.
That's right.
But by all means, you got a funky smell, call the fire station or call that police department. You should have that number posted.
Yep.
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
The wall is hot.
Posted every
Close
phone.
to the end, the wall is hot, call right away.
Absolutely. If the cord is hot that you plugged in, unplug it. If you can't unplug it, call us.
Yeah.
We have cords that have been welded into the outlets.
What?
Welded?
Yeah.
On purpose?
No,
Oh,
like it
oh,
just,
just from the-
I had a microwave at Templewood Court a 2-3 years ago where we couldn't actually pull it out of the outlet at all. It had melted into it. Yep.
Was her name Laura? No, I'm just kidding.
You're.
I can remember instances, I can't remember people's
No, I'm
names.
just
That's
being
good.
I'm
It's
just
okay.
being off.
She's being a wise ass. We have a lot of that.
When in doubt, call us. We're there every single day. 24/7, we are staffed.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all you do and for coming here. We know that you're busy and we just appreciate it. Every year these guys come. Sometimes there's 6 of them, sometimes there's 2. I appreciate all of it.
We got another guy sitting in the truck out front because we don't know what people will do anymore. We're
Oh.
worried about equipment being stolen. So
Yeah.
today's world, we had to leave one guy out in the truck and another one's out on another errand.
That's crazy.
I always sat out there.
It's scary. It's very
And
scary.
not really well, remember, like, if you have a grease fire, you know what you did, just call us, and it'll come flare sirens at me now.
We will always.
They'll come blaring sirens anyway.
That is the one thing, you wanna get under a fireman's skin, don't come with lights and sirens. We determine that. Tell us what's going on. If,
That'd be like coming in and telling us how to do our job.
That's right.
yeah, I'm not gonna tell you how to do any of that. But, you know, we have standards laid out for every type of call. If you say, hey, I can kinda smell propane, but don't run the sirens.
That's different now.
Well, even you said grease fire.
Yeah.
I don't care if we had a grease fire, we covered it, we think it's safe. You don't know where that fire may have gotten, behind the stove, onto a curtain, and you know, you're panicked and walked away to call us, because the detectors are going off. We hear fire, we're coming lights and sirens.
They're coming. Yeah.
Do you want us there in 2 minutes or 10 minutes?
We want you there too.
We want to be there in 2 because we don't know what's going on until we arrive and we deem it safe. Ultimately, we only care about your safety.
I know the dishwasher at house too. Remember when that? I don't even know what it was. A spatula. It fell to the
It melted or
bottom.
something.
Yeah, and it was on the overnight. I'm like, Rosa, do you smell that? And she's like, I do. I said, it's fucking plastic. I
Yep.
said, where
I know
is
the call.
it?
Jenna.
Yeah.
Probably found that fire for you.
Oh
guys.
my god, it was so scary. I was like, we gotta call him.
Well, we also
Absolutely.
had somebody catch a turkey on fire on Thanksgiving.
Oh,
And it really was just the grease that dripped over the pan.
oh, and onto the
But-
bottom on the stove.
They were so apologetic to the firemen calling them out on Thanksgiving. But,
We're so used to our dinner hitting the table and the phones go off or the phones drop. We live our lives by cold food, hot food, it doesn't matter. We do this job not for, we're out for you guys. We're out for the residents, we're out for the businesses in the city.
I know you are.
Don't ever hesitate. If you think you need the fire department, call. We're not gonna yell at you.
I had a call for a new addition, you guys put over for a new wall.
Oh, yeah. Right after it was done.
I think I
2
know.
fire trucks came, the whole.
I went up with Dave to your house.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's the biggest takeaway I hope you get is if you're in doubt, just call.
Yeah. Remember that. All of the houses on the fire pull boxes, they have a cover on them because these are people with dementia. And the cover, when they open it, it goes beep, beep, beep,
Oh,
beep,
yeah.
beep. It's not the fire alarm going off, it's the cover. And that just tells you, uh-oh, don't pull that.
So that's a great point. Those covers are fantastic. They do not alarm us. We've had people in other buildings pop the cover and say, why didn't you guys show up? I pulled the cover.
Oh,
You actually have to pull the handle down.
yeah.
That is, wow. They're really only they should only be in your
They are,
facilities.
they are.
They are.
We see them occasionally, like the Tuttle building had them, we had to have them removed. Yeah, it's just a weird,
Yeah.
people think they've hit the fire line. You
Yeah.
have not. So make sure if you have to lift those covers, you're gonna get that first alarm and then pull the handle.
Yep, yep.
The same with your game well boxes on the front of your building, those red boxes with white handles.
What is it called?
It's called a game well box.
Oh.
It's
The
so
fire
it's a
boxes?
big
Oh.
red box on the outside of your building. You can pull the handle there. That will get us, and that will not generate your fire alarm within your building.
Like
So if you pull that first handle down, there's a hook.
Yeah.
And if you pull it down, that generates, like the bells go off in the station, but it does not set your fire alarm off.
Oh.
I think the only house with one of those, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think the only house is Jackson Avenue.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think all the others.
I think she's right.
Muzzy has one up front, Jackson on the end
Yeah.
has
Yeah, 'cause
one.
isn't it on the
North
other
Main
side?
Street has
Yeah.
one on the, is that you guys?
We're on south. We're on
House
Selman.
3 does.
No, I'm thinking of a different one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
I think
across
House
the
3
Tracy
does it.
King.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I don't think so.
The road, I know.
And I don't
Yeah.
think House 2 does.
They kind of all blend together.
Yeah, I know.
15, I can still
But-
do them. Paula says the exact same thing to me.
What's that?
Those are my real nails.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of nails.
Or other parts.
And I've never poked anything, just to give you heads up.
Oh, now.
Any other questions for me before we head out on the ass wiping?
You learn something new every day.
Thank you, guys.
Not a problem.
What time are we at? What are we doing? I don't know.
Well, we've already.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
All right, if you guys are done with us,
Any questions? Don't be afraid. There's no question that's a dumb question.
there really isn't.
Now,
Huh?
can I go to work now?
Yes, you can.
See, we can go to work too.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Have a great day.
Stay safe, you guys.
See how long it goes? I know the real.
My real nails.
Oh, she's lying.
No, I
She just told me she's talking.
You can say you got what? I give my natural nails with acrylic on top.
With acrylic on. Okay, that's the deal.
That's why I won't
That's the
cut
deal.
them down because I don't want to cut my real nails.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh.
These guys are always a wealth of information. We are very fortunate that we have them. And same with the ambulance guys, you know, whenever they have to come. It's
Like,
It's a
done one or
comfort,
two, but-
right? Once they arrive, it's
Oh
like,
my God, no,
The more
Judith, when she just, I could have smacked, they brought 3 when Judith was taken, and then he's
Yeah,
like,
'cause they've been training people
Well, he's
and
like, what's the
they
code?
put their
And I said,
person
he goes,
out
it's
for-
1776, the lady. Of all people to say it to, you're gonna say it right in front of Judith.
she's not gonna remember.
Oh no, she remembered, she said 776. She missed the 1, so she's very smart like that.
She might forget it tomorrow.
Oh yeah, no, it was just when she came back.
Their day.
Kim, thank you, Matt.